Good evening and welcome to Current Issues. I'm your host, Hisham Tilawi. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 9/11 again, and we will, of course, this is probably, it might be the last time, at least for a while, that we're going to talk about 9/11 since the 10th anniversary passed a few days ago. Now, what did you do? How did you commemorate 9/11? Because, as you know, the whole country actually commemorated 9/11. And the news, all the networks actually were talking about 9/11 and covering 9/11 and bringing back old talking heads that were those who were there on 9/11, telling us what 10 years have done so far. And of course, you know, everybody was talking about 9/11, and we started talking about and commemorating 9/11 probably, what, 3 weeks ago, and now we are going to actually talk about 9/11 again because, you know, we really never forgot 9/11, and we did not need a 10th anniversary to remind us of what really took place on that day, because we don't know what really took place on that day. And that's why the whole thing is like, I'm watching all the networks, and all the networks are carrying things very much the same way. You know, how good we are, and how brave we are, and how nice we are, and just how beautiful we are as people and as a country. We stood up to defend the country, and we got those. You know, we killed Osama bin Laden, and we killed, you know, a couple of million others because of 9/11. And, you know, we're nice people. That's why we have, that's why, you know, we are where we are, because we're very much just nice people here in the United States. And, but, you know, none of these nice people actually asked about, yo, Mr. President, who did 9/11? No one questioned that. Nobody questioned anything about 9/11. Everything was, and you know, I did put one of the previous shows about 9/11, the one we did here a couple of weeks ago, especially the one about the Pentagon. We did put that one on YouTube, and it has about 3,000 hits already. But, you know, somebody said, you know, he used an expletive and said, you know, this is about those who perished on 9/11. This is not about conspiracies. This is about the people who died about 9/11. So I guess he was telling me to stop it. You know, why am I showing these videos and saying, okay, what did hit the Pentagon? That it was 9/11, that we were supposed to be remembering those who died on 9/11. And my response to him was, yes, this is because of them. You know, we're doing this so their death will not be in vain. They would not have died in vain. That's why we're doing this. That's why probably, you know, I was one of the few people to commemorate 9/11. We are bringing back the questions of 9/11 that the government never paid attention to. As a matter of fact, the government is trying to fight those of us who trying to bring up these questions. And there are, ladies and gentlemen, there are probably thousands of unanswered questions. Now, of course, you know, when we talk like this, the president think that we are conspiracy theorists. So we do have, just like, you know, we have been accustomed to here, we have a lineup of videos to actually make our story and make our point. And the first one we're going to go to is basically the Obama about 9/11, you know, what he said about 9/11. And let's go to the first tape, actually, to see what Obama said about us who don't believe in the official story of 9/11.
I'm aware that there's still some who would question or even justify the offense of 9/11. But let us be clear. Al-Qaeda killed nearly 3,000 people on that day. The victims were innocent men, women, and children from America and many other nations who had done nothing to harm anybody. And yet Al-Qaeda chose to ruthlessly murder these people, claimed credit for the attack, and and even now states their determination to kill on a massive scale. They have affiliates in many countries and are trying to expand their reach. These are not opinions to be debated. These are facts to be dealt with. These are not opinions to be debated. These are facts to be dealt with.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th. Malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
All right. Well, okay. Mr. President, outrageous conspiracy theories. I agree. We don't need any outrageous conspiracy theories, and I agree with you. And Mr. Obama, the only thing, now you said Al-Qaeda has many hundreds or many affiliates in hundreds of countries or many countries. Where are they? Can you tell us? Besides the ones that the CIA is actually creating. Now, is that a conspiracy theory too? I mean, you know it's true. So, and it's not an outrageous, well, excuse us if that's an outrageous statement that we don't see any Al-Qaeda. You're not bringing any Al-Qaeda as prisoners. Where are they? Can you tell us where the prisoners are? I mean, the war has been going on for 10 years, and with Germany, we had thousands of prisoners that we brought here to the United States. Where are they? Okay, you don't want to bring them to the United States. Where are they? But you know, Mr. President, you know, there are many questions about 9/11. And we're going to show you some of these outrageous theories, conspiracy theories, with a bunch of pictures that we are going to show you. Maybe, Mr. President, you can explain to us some of these pictures that we're going to show now, and maybe you can tell us what these conspiracy theories are. Let's show some of these pictures, please. Okay, now there were 5 men detained on 9/11. They were Israelis. They were detained as conspirators, suspected of being conspirators. Now, Mr. President, we're not going through any outrageous theory here, but excuse us if this is outrageous. You arrested, the government, you weren't there at that time, but the government arrested 5 Israelis in a van with explosives on 9/11. Maybe you can tell us why those were released and sent back to Israel after questioning. Other pictures. Now, this is what's going on now, the old pictures. This is what happened now. Let's go to the old pictures, please. Okay, now this is the Pentagon, Mr. President. Now, this is not, you know, you talk about facts. Now, let's talk about this. Explain to us this outrageous theory of ours of how to fit a plane in that little hole. Okay? It is a conspiracy, and it is outrageous. You just tell us the facts. Since you are saying that Al-Qaeda killed 3,000 people, well, the only fact, Mr. President, is 3,000 people died on that day. That's basically the only fact. The only fact is the planes hit those towers. But this is an outrageous theory. You know, it's physics and dynamics. And so if you just tell us how to put a plane in that hole. Okay? Now, this is here evidence of linking. Now, this is from the Fox network. And Mr. President, Fox is friend of Israel. Okay? So they're not going to lie. But here it says evidence linking these Israelis to 9/11 is classified. I cannot tell you about evidence that has been gathered. It is classified information. This is from the FBI, Mr. President. And it's really an outrageous conspiracy theory that these people were arrested and it's classified. You never told us, Mr. President, about who those people were and why were they arrested. What did they have to do with 9/11? Did you tell us? They're Israelis, Mr. President. They are not Muslims. They're Jews. They're not Muslims. Okay? Now, Mr. President, now this is here is Accounting 101, Finance 101. This is the puts, this is the futures market. If you look at that it's going way up, almost like about Tuesday, a week before. So a week before the futures market, and the one you're looking at way up on top, that is United Airlines. Now, maybe you can tell us what happened that week, because you see how many people they bought. They made billions of dollars in the futures market on United Airlines and on American Airlines. Now, this little graph, Mr. President, that is not conspiracy. That's exactly what happened. So somebody knew that United Airlines was going to be used in the hijacking. And that is not bin Laden. That is not someone sitting in a cave, Mr. President. Now, this is not an outrageous theory. This is just you explain to us why that week, and then you see how it tanked all the way comes the attack on Tuesday, actually the day before. You see what happened to it the day before? It went flat on Monday. That's the last thing. Do you see what happens a couple of days? Now, Mr. President, let me also tell you about another outrageous theory. Now, this is the stock market. This is the shares of those two airlines. Now, if you notice, on the 10th, Mr. President, it was worth $30.82. Now, somebody on the 10th also, somebody sold United Airlines big time. That was before the attack. Somebody sold United Airlines shares before the attack. Now, this is an outrageous theory, right? Now, the one to the right, that is AA for American Airlines. It was $29.70, just about the 9th. Look what happened to it by the 10th. It tanked. It lost like almost $11 in one day. Who knew about it? Did you investigate that? No. Did the 9/11 Commission report talked about this one? No, they did not. So, Mr. President, there are outrageous conspiracy theories, but there is an outrageous government that we have here in the United States that will not give the people of the United States answers to these simple questions. Maybe they are outrageous simple questions. Now, what we're showing here, you can't see it in this still photo, Mr. President, but the building was falling at a free fall rate. The speed of fall was free fall. Free fall, Mr. President, that means there was no resistance at all. That means, you remember the implosions? Remember these companies that actually bring down buildings with free fall? That's exactly what happened. Maybe you can tell us why the free fall. Did the 9/11 Commission, did they actually investigate this? No, they did not. We have the report. They did not investigate this. Okay? Now, this here, Mr. President, it's a conspiracy theory, and it might be an outrageous, but if you look at those beams, those are steel beams. They were cut razor sharp. This was not just because a building was falling. This was actually caused the building to fall. Now, what cut it? Experts tell us thermite. And we talked about thermite. We're not going to explain what thermite is. Go look it up. But experts in the field is telling us that this could only be happened that way and cut that clean, those beams and those columns, if thermite was actually used. Again, this is the Pentagon. Now, of course, this picture after they have actually started to demolish it and rebuild it, but you can tell where the hole was, and there is no way on earth that you can put that's one of the first pictures for the Pentagon, and you see where the fire is. We don't see anything there. You're telling us, I mean, it's really an outrageous statement on your part, but you, the government, is trying to tell us that an airplane actually went through that building. And no idea, but now, don't you think this is an outrageous statement? When you say outrageous conspiracy theories, we're not, forget about conspiracy. Just explain this outrageous physics dilemma to us. This is just physics. This is space. Solid matters going through solid matters. Science 101 told us two solid matters, they don't go inside. Okay? Now, is it outrageous to know that NORAD had a drill on 9/11? But that's not it. They had a drill that the Pentagon and the Trade Center, the World Trade Center, were among the imagined targets. That was coincident, Mr. President? That was a coincidence? To have NORAD had a drill on the same day with the same scenario? And by the way, on July 7th in London, like in 2007, I think, there was a drill about the same thing. So you guys are repeating the same stuff. There was bombing. Remember 7/7 in London? There was a drill that the British government was doing. If somebody would, I guess, blow up the tunnels there, the mass transit. Anyway, we keep going. Now, this is maybe, Mr. President, I know we are being very outrageous here, but that's the kind of people we are. We are outrageous people. But maybe, now I know you've seen this, and you've seen this probably on live TV, when this is the BBC correspondent, and she is talking about Building 7 is gone. But if you notice, Building 7 is that building we see right there behind her. It was still up. It wasn't gone. See, this is Building 7. And if we go back to that picture, we will see that now I heard her say this, and I'm looking at Building 7, and it's like, isn't that Building 7 behind her, and she's talking about it? But you see, the thing is, if you read the caption there, that Building 7 has collapsed. The 47-story Salomon Brothers building close to the World Trade Center has also collapsed. They reported that. Now, I mean, that's an outrageous. And also, the outrageous also statement that I'm about to make, that Building 7 came down for no reason at all. Nothing hit it. There was like a small fire in one of the levels there, but the whole thing came down, and it did not come down as like on its side. No, it came down in a free fall. The outrageous in this whole matter as of Building 7, that the commission that the government of the United States had commissioned, that's called the 9/11 Commission, and they issued the 9/11 Commission report. They did not even mention anything about Building 7. I mean, I know it's an outrageous statement to say a 47 building came down with no reason at all, and it does not get mentioned in the report, in the government report. I mean, if you think that's outrageous, I'm sorry. Like I said, we're outrageous people asking outrageous questions. Now it's very complicated questions. How can a building fall by itself, Building 7, and not be investigated? That's a very difficult, complicated questions and outrageous questions. Okay? Do we still have some more? Okay, yeah, this one. This one is a good one, okay? And this is Flight 93 that actually came down in Pennsylvania. Well, now we've seen wreckage of airplanes actually crashing down to Mother Earth. But we never ever, and in the history of aviation, no plane ever disappeared on land. There was always wreckage. There was always wreckage. It doesn't matter. You want to tell me that, oh, this one came so fast, nose down. Well, you're going to have something fly off and nothing dead. That's the only thing. That picture is taken right after the crash. And there's nothing but, oh, by the way, this is not the crater, because there was a crater in that particular piece of land in that same spot. So that's not the whole crater that was made by the plane. If you look at pictures before and after, you will see that little dip there. So that was already there. But I think we might have another picture, I think, taken from space or something, or from a plane. The only thing you see is just, okay, just like a small black spot there on the ground. Where's the plane? What happened to it? Did it go so far that we could not even dig it out? So, anyway, outrageous. I understand they are outrageous, but what can I say? Like I said, we are outrageous people. Now, we're going to go ahead. I don't know if we have any more pictures to ask outrageous questions on there. I think we've asked all. Now, by the way, not all. We asked some of the outrageous questions. You know, there are so many outrageous questions that we can ask, but we have asked very few outrageous questions that would be considered as outrageous conspiracy theories. We're going to show, now everybody knows who Leon Panetta is. Now, he used to be the chief of staff for President Clinton. And when 9/11 happened, he did, we're going to show you what he said, and we're going to come back and tell you. Now, what you're about to see is something he said way back around 9/11. And then we're going to show you what he's saying now. Let's play the first one.
I was
No.
sitting outside.
No.
To take
As,
the time to
yeah.
fully investigate, does this matter, determine who are the culprits, and then take appropriate action. That's been the course of action that the United States has taken in the past, and it's the course of action we've got to take now.
Thanks very much, Leon Panetta, for joining.
Okay. You know what? I want you to play that one more time, and everybody listen very carefully. Play it one more time.
To take the time to fully investigate, does this matter, determine who are the culprits, and then take appropriate action. That's been the course of action that the United States has taken in the past, and it's the course of action we've got to take now.
Thanks very much, Leon Panetta, for joining.
Okay. Now, we must take appropriate action. We must investigate who did it. Now, if you remember, that same day, people were talking about Al-Qaeda and bin Laden. The same day, on 9/11. And then the following day, and then everything started from there about the Muslims and Muslim bashing. But that's Leon Panetta. That is the defense secretary now. That is our defense secretary now. Now, I'm not sure when he said that statement, but that was way after 9/11. So if our Secretary of Defense at this time, and he was the Chief of Staff, which means he knew everything, he was asking that we need an investigation of who did it, what happened on 9/11. Now, what is he saying now? Let's go.
After even George W. Bush's Pentagon acknowledged there was no connection between the 9/11 attacks in Iraq, President Obama's defense secretary suddenly seemed to be turning into Dick Cheney. In his first visit to Iraq since taking over the top job at the Pentagon, Leon Panetta told American troops there that they were there because of 9/11 and Al-Qaeda.
The reason you guys are here is because on 9/11, the United States got attacked. And 3,000 Americans, and 3,000, not just Americans, but 3,000 human beings got killed.
Okay.
Innocent human beings got killed.
That's good.
Because of Al-Qaeda.
That's good. Okay, that's good. So now he was asking for an investigation. And now when he became Secretary of Defense, he's telling the troops in Iraq that you are here because we were attacked and 3,000 died on 9/11. Can you believe that? When right now, even the government, even George Bush himself said Iraq has nothing to do with 9/11. Our Secretary of Defense now, this is now, in Iraq, when he himself asked, is that outrageous or not, Mr. President? I don't know. Isn't that outrageous? I really believe it's outrageous, and it's the outrageous government that we have. And it's not just government of Obama or government of George Bush. It doesn't matter what government we have. It's a system we have. It's a regime we have. It doesn't matter if it's Democrats or Republicans. It's the same regime. Now, is that I think that is outrageous on your part, that the same Secretary of State asked for an investigation, and now he's telling the troops in Iraq that you are here because of 9/11. What did Iraq have to do with 9/11? Now, another outrageous thing, I want you to play the first video that you played with George Bush. Play that now, because that's outrageous too.
Was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot.
Okay,
and, said
that's good.
A horrible accident.
That's good. We're going to play it again. Now, Mr. Obama and Mr. Bush, because he's the one that said, both of them, by the way, said, you know, we're not going to tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories. Hey, look, I don't want to have to tolerate outrageous statements either. Can you explain to us, or maybe Mr. Bush can explain to us, what the hell was he talking about in there? Did you hear what he said? He said that while he was waiting to go in on that morning, the TV obviously, now why did he lie? Because there was nothing on the news. They did not show any plane that day that hit the first building. And he knew about the second building when he was already in the classroom. So he said, and we're going to play that again, he said that while he was waiting to go in the classroom, obviously the TV was on and he saw the plane going, hitting the building. And he said, what a terrible pilot, because he is pilot himself. Now, can you tell me why would the President of the United States lie about that statement? Because it's impossible that he could have seen the first plane to hit the tower. It's impossible, because the first plane hitting the tower did not show up. That video did not show up until September 12th. So, I mean, it's outrageous that the president would lie, and you're not giving us an answer why the president lied. So I want you now to listen to what Bush said, and maybe somebody can tell us, isn't that outrageous for a president of the United States to lie?
I was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot.
Okay,
and
that's good.
I said it must have been a horrible accident.
And he said to himself, it must be, you know, he's not just lying, he's also making things up of what he said at the time, because he did not say that. That incident did not even take place. Now, did you hear what he said? He said he was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in. Now, how many presidents, I don't care, you know, how many presidents you think they are going to be sitting outside the classrooms waiting to go in? And then what is this school has TVs in the corridors there? And they leave the President of the United States sitting there waiting to go in? But forget about that. Maybe, okay, maybe he was waiting with his entourage or something, okay? But why lie that he saw it on TV and that he even said to himself, what a terrible pilot? It didn't happen. It's outrageous. I'm sorry, we're outrageous people. We ask outrageous questions. We are the outrageous conspiracy theorists. Just answer one question. Anyway, so, and with the Secretary of Defense, on the one hand, he wants an investigation when he was not in government. He had his senses. But when these people become in government, then it's not them anymore. They're nothing but talking heads to those who are actually holding the, pushing their buttons. And, well, our Vice President and again our Secretary of State, they actually commemorated 9/11, so let's hear what they said.
And though 10 years have passed, the wounds are still present. The emotions still raw. You have always carried the memory of that day with you. And in its aftermath, you have shown a strength and a courage that embodies the character of America.
Okay.
Your physical presence.
Stop it. Stop it. I hope you paused it because we're going to hear what the Vice President said. Everything he talked about, they talk to your emotions, never talk to your brains. Character of America. The wounds still open. Yeah, the wounds still open because we don't have an investigation of 9/11. They talk about emotions. We're good. We took it. Listen to what politicians say. It's nothing but propaganda. It's nothing but emotions. It's emotions. Nothing, no facts. And I did not hear anyone, ladies and gentlemen, in the media. You see, that's the problem. It's not just the government. It's also the media that's going along. I think whoever's controlling them, controlling both of them at the same time because one hand feeds the other. Let's continue. Listen to the emotion statements.
Here today gives hope to thousands of Americans who, under different circumstances, are trying to come to grips with the losses that you had, that they're going through.
Is he about to cry?
Because when they see,
listen to his
they
tone
see
of
you
voice.
Here, you let them know that hope can grow from tragedy, and there can be a second life.
Okay? Hope. That hope can come out of tragedy. Second life. The guy is about to cry. They really, they really think you're sheep. Just sheeple. That's what they think. Because they can put you, they can talk to you on this TV. They know you are going to gobble it up. They didn't say nothing except emotions. They're playing with your emotions. That's what they're playing with. They're not saying anything. Emotions, hope, courage, strength. We came out the ashes of 9/11. They feed you that garbage. As a matter of fact, I think we have a picture of a TV and a sheep, so just to, and a bunch of them. So that's basically what we feel that they're doing to you. That's exactly what they're doing. They're feeding you this garbage. And you're just there being mesmerized by these people feeding you nothing but garbage. Okay? Now, we ask too many questions. Too many questions. We don't want an answer to every one of them. Just one of them. Just tell us. Tell us Building 7. Just take Building 7. Forget about everything else, okay? If you want us to say a plane hit the Pentagon, we'll say a plane hit the Pentagon. And not 757, it was a DC-10 or something, okay? If you want us to say it was a space shuttle, we'll say that. A plane can go through solid walls? Yes, they can. Hey, we're not just explain Building 7. How did Building 7 fall? And how did the BBC announce it when it wasn't even, it was still standing? Outrageous, I know. All right, let's, you know, really, the only one, now you watch the Tea Party. You know, every time I think of the Tea Party, I think of Ron Paul. You know, the Tea Party had the CNN Tea Party presidential debate, the GOP debate. And there is one man there that I know he will not get the nominations, and he will never be the president of the United States. Never be. Because he's not going to live long enough until you wake up and change things around and demand things, demand a change, you know, a change we can live with. This was no change that we can live with, because we cannot live with this change. There was nothing changed. Actually, it was changed to the worse, because the economic conditions is worse. That's a change. We are more wars than we were before. That's a change. Okay? We have horrible things happening in the world because of us. That's a change. And that's the change that Obama had actually promised us. That's a change. One candidate will not win. I can tell you that now. One candidate will not win. And that candidate, excuse me, and that candidate is Ron Paul. Ron Paul says the wrong things. It's the right thing, but it's the wrong thing politically. And since you, the sheeps out there, listening to all the garbage that you listen to, you will never get his message. And what he says is going to sound to you like the things I say, because actually he does happen to say things that I say. Or I happen to say things that he says. That's good. It doesn't matter. But you're not going to like it because the media is telling you otherwise. Let's play Ron Paul in the debate. Listen carefully.
Let's take a question from Twitter. Do you plan to decrease defense spending to balance spending, or do you believe high spending is essential to security? Speaker, Congressman Paul.
First thing I would like to do is make sure that you understand there's a difference between military spending and defense spending. I'm tired of all the militarism that we are involved in, and we're wasting this money and getting us involved. And I agree, we are still in danger, but most of the danger comes by our lack of wisdom on how we run our foreign policy. So I would say there's a lot of room to cut on the military, but not on the defense. You can slash the military spending. We don't need to be building airplanes that were used in World War II. We're always fighting the last war. But we're under great threat because we occupy so many countries. We're in 130 countries. We have 900 bases around the world. We're going broke. The purpose of al-Qaeda was to attack us, invite us over there where they can target us, and they have been doing it. They have more attacks against us and the American interests per month than occurred in all the years before 9/11. But we're there, occupying their land. And if we think that we can do that and not have retaliation, we're kidding ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves. What would we do if another country, say China, did to us what we do to all those countries over there? So I would say a policy, a foreign policy that takes care of our national defense, that we're willing to get along with people and trade with people as the founders advised. There's no authority in the Constitution to be the policeman of the world, and no nation building. Just remember, George Bush won the presidency on that platform in the year 2000, and I still think it's a good platform.
All right, let me let Senator Santorum respond, because I know you strongly disagree.
On your website on 9/11, you had a blog post that basically blamed the United States for 9/11. On your website yesterday, you said that it was our actions that brought about the actions of 9/11. Now, Congressman Paul, that is irresponsible, A president of the United States running for, someone who's running for the president of the United States in the Republican Party should not be parroting what Osama bin Laden said on 9/11. We should have, we are not being attacked, and we were not attacked because of our actions. We were attacked, as Newt talked about, because we have a civilization that is antithetical to the civilization of the jihadists. And they want to kill us because of who we are and what we stand for. And we stand for American exceptionalism. We stand for freedom and opportunity for everybody around the world. And I am not ashamed to do that.
30 seconds, Mr. Paul.
As long as this country follows that idea, we're going to be under a lot of danger. This whole idea that the whole Muslim world is responsible for this and they're attacking us because we're free and prosperous, that is just not true. Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda have been explicit. They have been explicit, and they wrote and said that we attacked America because you had bases on our Holy Land in Saudi Arabia. You do not give Palestinians a fair treatment, and you have been bombing. I didn't say that. I'm trying to get you to understand what the motive was behind the bombing. At the same time, we had been bombing and killing hundreds of thousands of Iraqis for 10 years. Would you be annoyed? If you're not annoyed, then there's some problem.
All right, we're going to stay on this subject. We have a question from the audience. Go ahead.
Okay. So he was booted out because he's telling the truth. You see? People out there, they don't want to hear the truth. They're going to boot him out because he's telling the truth. Because he's saying that, hey, look, we're occupying these people's land. No, no, no. You see, that's telling the truth. That's showing the real picture of who we are. We want to be, they attacked us because of who we are, because of what we believe in. America's exceptionalism. We like freedom and opportunity for everyone around the world. So basically, they want to kill us because we're nice people. They want to kill us because we're nice people. We want freedom and opportunity for people around the world, and they want to kill us. Now, you know, we're talking about outrageous. That is outrageous, but you know what really outrageous is? You believe in that garbage. That's the outrageous. Is that you believe in that garbage. You don't want to see the hundreds of thousands of people that we're killing all over the world. No, we're giving opportunities all over the world. Outrageous? Yes. All we do, we want to make a beautiful picture. Just put some mascara on and it should be beautiful, even though it's garbage underneath. Because of the civilization, there's a civilization out there that wants to kill us. You see, they're all using this. What's his name? Rudy Giuliani, the other day. You know, he said that we need to be there because there are many people there who are planning to come and kill us, so we need to continue killing them. Who are they? Have you? You know, the outrageous thing in this whole thing is you're sleeping. You're not doing your job. Your brain is not functioning. You're not thinking. Because what you're supposed to be thinking about is, who are those people? Where are those people? Can they tell us? All we know is Iraq was a country, a sovereign country. It was under siege, boycotted by the whole world because we told the whole world don't sell anything to Iraq, and for 12 years no one sold anything to Iraq. 500,000 children died because of malnutrition and lack of medicine during the 12 years when Iraq was boycotted, under siege. And actually, our Secretary of State at the time, Albright, she was interviewed and she was asked, hey, look, this 500,000 kids died in Iraq in the last 12 years because of lack of medicine and malnutrition. The Iraqi government, Saddam Hussein, cannot even feed his country, cannot feed his children. After Iraq used to be a very strong country. Remember, Iraq faced Iran for 8 years? War with Iran for 8 years? She did it for the United States, to protect the United States. 1 million Iraqis died in that war, protecting the interest of the United States. You want to talk about values? You know, you go out there and you use people, and then you come back and kill them after you use them? What kind of values are those? I know those are not the values of the people in the United States, because the people in the United States, they're not the one in control of the government of the United States. Somebody else is in control of the government. And if they are in control of the government, they are in control of the army. And if they are in control of the media, they are in control of your brains. And they can do anything they want to with this huge army, military, superpower that we have. And they have used it. They have used it for their own purposes, not to help the United States. So after 500,000 Iraqi children died, not in war, and then we think that collateral, we said, oh, that's collateral, that was worth it. That's what our Secretary of State at that time said, Madeleine Albright. Then 9/11 comes, and we have many outrageous questions about 9/11. We have no clue who did it, no clue what happened. They lied about it. They lied about everything. They did not investigate it. How could you not investigate something that changed the world, and literally changed the world? Because this world we live in, it is not the same after 9/11. No investigation? None whatsoever? Now, we talked about the 9/11 Commission report last time, and we talked about how, you know what? I think we'll go to the phone. We have someone who's been waiting on the phone for a while, so let's go to the phones with Rex, I believe, on line 1. Rex.
How you doing, Talawi?
Fine, thank you.
Do you want to know the real truth, what happened on 9/11?
Tell me.
To the World Trade Centers? I'm tired of everybody saying it's planes. It was military jets with bombs strapped underneath. As soon as it was about to hit the building, it blew a hole in it, and that's how it got in. Otherwise, a jet or plane would have just splattered on the side of that reinforced concrete and steel and concrete and poured in steel. And then right after that, they had a lady standing right at the hole, probably, I guess, 40, 50 minutes later or whatever. She's standing there looking out. If it had been so hot to melt steel, she'd have been disintegrated on impact.
That's another outrageous question, an outrageous claim, Rex. So what are you going to do about it?
Hope and pray that we don't get another evil one. I hope Ron Paul gets in there, but he don't.
Oh, he's not. Now, you know he's not, because he is against the establishment, and they're not going to bring someone who's going to expose the establishment.
Yeah, I know. That's just like his speech a while ago. He's great.
Oh, yeah, he was. I mean, he was telling the truth. He was telling the truth. But you know what? People don't know that he was telling the truth. People want to hear the emotional terms. You know, we're good, we're nice, we're strong, we're courageous, we like to help people. You know, they want to hear our Vice President Biden speaking with that tone of voice, you know, that kind of, you know, almost crying tone of voice. That's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear Ron Paul telling them exactly what we are and what we're doing. They don't want. Appreciate it, Rex. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you. Well, you know, there are a lot of... Now, I've seen what Rex actually was talking about. And I've seen the planes he's talking about. And I've seen the videos. And yes, there was something strapped underneath those planes. But you know what? And yes, there are witnesses who say it was a gray plane with no windows. yes, we do have those planes in the United States military and the Air Force. But I don't want to complicate it that way. Even though, what he said, let's say what he was talking about is conspiracy theory. Can we investigate it? Can we take a look at it? Can we take a look at, he mentioned something that if that lady can stand up there 40 minutes after, and you're telling us that in order for their theory to work, the columns that would have had to be actually melted because of the hot fire, it would have to be way at the bottom, and it would have to be melted all at the same time, given out at the same time. Otherwise, that building would have done this. It would not have came in free fall. It would have leaned if that's what happened. But with the melting steel theory, it could not happen because it did not burn that fast. They're telling us, oh, it burned that hot. Oh, because of office furnishings. Yeah, sure. What the heck did they have in those office furnishings? What the heck did they have? Chemicals, office chemicals. What did they have? TNT in there? Did they have thermite? What did they have? We showed you the graphs for the, if you can, put that graph with the futures market of what happened with the futures market. If you notice, it happened on Tuesday, the attack. The Tuesday before, that's when you notice there is a movement. If you see where Tuesday to the left, you see that's when it kind of started to take off there. A week before 9/11, something else also happened. Not just this. A company, an Israeli company, an Israeli moving company that had offices at the World Trade Center, they moved. A week before, they moved. So why did they move out? They moved across the river. They rented another place. And actually, when they moved out of the World Trade Center, they they were fined $50,000 because they broke the lease. But they moved out. Why did they move out? Now, we showed you last week that when these people were arrested in after 9/11, and they were sent back to Israel, they said, we were there to film the event. I mean, what else do we need? Okay, we made our point. You can take that off. Okay, so a week before, we see that in the stock market, in the futures market. We see movement, people moving out of the World Trade Center. The same company that moved out a week before, they go set up shop and start filming the event. We arrest those people. We arrest them in a van with explosives. Remember the van full of explosives under the Washington Bridge? You remember that? Yes. Anyway, that story was on CBS with Dan Rather and never to be heard of again. Why? Why? Aren't these, I guess, outrageous questions? Why? Who are these people? Why there was, they're not Muslims. I guess if they were Muslims, then it would have been a different story. And, on 9/11, how people actually commemorated 9/11, we don't have really much time to show you what happened on 9/11. We have a couple of pictures of what happened. We all came out. Many people came out. Show some of the pictures now that took place a couple of days ago. Everybody came out, in, colors and the government, the red, white, and blue. We flew the flags and everything. Everything was perfect. We commemorated 9/11, and we flew the stripes and the stars. But why nobody talked about what happened that day. Nobody. Nobody talked about what happened. Let's investigate it. I've heard all of it. No one says, or no one said, let's investigate it. Anyway, we only have a few seconds left actually in the program, and all we have time to actually say is we will see you, I guess, next week with probably, I don't know, maybe something about 9/11 or maybe not. We'll talk about maybe about nothing.